No.
I project somewhere in between last season and the season before. I'd expect like in the low 90s.
Yeah.
Or upper 80s in RBIs, but a ton of runs, great power, just all around consistent. He'll never be on your bench.
Now, he batted, one thing I looked at, I think the year before he was batting third. Oddly enough, I was watching the wild card game between him and between the Cubs and the Pirates a couple years ago in 2015.
Wow.
He was batting third. Last year, he's moved up to second. I think to give him more at bats.
Yeah.
So I think...
So they do think he's the best hitter on the team.
Yeah, I think they do. I still think Rizzo is myself. I think he's the best average hitter, Rizzo.
Sure.
But Bryant, it depends where those two are who's in front of who in that lineup. Who's going to get the RBIs. If Bryant's batting behind Rizzo, I think Bryant will end up with more RBIs.
It's funny, though, because the switch from second to third, you would see an increase in RBI, but you don't really see too much of an increase, or of a decrease in runs.
Yeah.
It's like the guy that's hitting second is just going to have less RBIs, and that's that. So.
All right, well, number 3. Go ahead.
Number 3 is where I have Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton.
If you would have asked me half a year ago, I would have still had his really shitty season 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago on my mind. But when you're good 5 out of the last 6 years, other than freak injuries, people give him the injury prone label. He's not. He gets hit in the face.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What else did he do? I mean, just weird injuries. It's not like he's like tweaking a hammy or whatever around the bases.
Right.
Watch, he probably did have I don't know his injury history.
No. Well, the thing that scares me about him is his average. Last year was one of his higher average seasons.
Right.
The year before, 240. In 119 games, he still only batted 240. So that's what scares me away from him a little bit. Is I don't think we're going to get a 281 average. I think he's more of a 260 to 270 hitter. But number 3, here's a guy that I was looking at these numbers earlier. I would have given him my MVP vote. Charlie Blackmon.
Until you read off Giancarlo's numbers.
Well, I mean, 59 home runs on 32 RBIs.
Didn't Joey Votto finish second?
I think so.
I think he did. Now that is more questionable. I would probably take Blackmon.
Blackmon was.
I love Votto to death, but you can't deny those numbers, man.
Look, listen to Blackmon's numbers: 334 average, 37 home runs, 104 RBIs, 137 runs, and 14 steals.
How do you get better? I mean, you can't steal many bases if you're always hitting bombs.
No, and arguably, I don't think Nolan Arenado was the best player on that team last year.
Yeah.
I think Charlie Blackmon was probably the best player on the team last year. That's insane. When I was reading off, what really caught my eye is I thought he was closer. I knew he had a 300 average. I didn't realize it was 334. But
I think what's going to happen for me when I draft, I'm going to see Blackmon available in the first round, and I'm going to say, okay, he doesn't have that sexy name that everybody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that's going to be in our league is
I'm going to take him.
I know, but I'll probably be like, maybe I can pass on him and get him in the second round, and then that's where he's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready to take him in the first round. I guess I am. It's just like, you just want that... There's a part of me in the back of my mind that wants that sexy, like, I want that Trout. I want the Arenado. Do I want Blackmon to be my first pick? But, it's all about the numbers, and he's a beast. And he's been a beast, has he not?
I believe he's been, the last couple of years, he's been putting up...
He's always putting up a high average and stealing a lot of bases. Last year he didn't steal any bases because he's always freaking hitting the ball out of the park.
Yeah, so...
He's 32, holy shit.
Yeah, he's pretty old. The year before, 29 home runs, 82 RBIs, 17 steals, with 324 average. So the last 2 years he's been putting the average at... Last year he put a little bit more power and RBIs into his game. But, I mean, the last 2 years he's been doing it. It's not like it's not something he's not able to do. I mean, here's a guy who's going to probably give you 30 home runs and close to 100 RBIs and a lot of runs because of Colorado and that third baseman.
I think the less home runs he hits, the more stolen bases he's going to have.
Yeah, probably. So. Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so I have Blackmon number 2, actually.
Okay.
I like him a little bit more than Stanton, actually.
Okay, well, I mean, I do too. I have Stanton a little lower than some guys. At number 2, I am putting Bryce Harper. Yes, there's the injury risk, but it's a contract year for Bryce, and he's playing for money. You guarantee he's going to be playing for money. Last year, 319 average, 29 home runs, 87 RBIs, 95 runs, and 4 stolen bases. Again, I think he was injured for how long last year? He was injured for a little bit. But in 111 games, he put those numbers up in 111 games. So you got to think in a full season, he probably would have had 40 home runs, probably. But Bryce Harper, you know what you're going to get with him.
Do you?
I'm
Look at the previous season.
Previous season was really bad. Boy, I don't know what happened there. 24 home runs, 86 RBIs, and 84 runs, and a 243 average. But the year before, the MVP year, 330 average, 42 home runs, 99 RBIs.
You know what? I feel like I
think you're going to get right in between those 2 years.
I think I was pressured by his big sexy name value.
Yeah.
Into putting him number 6. I'm going to move him down to 8.
Wow.
And put J.D. Martinez and Judge in front of him.
Wow.
Just because of that injury risk, and not to mention, it seems to be a coin flip. Are you going to have elite Bryce Harper? Or are you going to have?
I think we're going to have elite this year. I do. I think he's going to be playing for a big contract next year.
Yeah.
And
he won't see my team. He's going to go in the first or second round.
Oh yeah, he's definitely.
And he's not going to be drafted by me. I'd rather have Joey Votto. I'd just rather have a guy that I know can do it every year.
Okay.
Barring injury, which, ironically, he's a huge injury risk. Anyway, so number 2 for me is Blackmon, and then number 1 obviously is Trout.
Oh yeah, you're not going to take Mike Trout number 1. Mike Trout will probably go number 1 in the draft, either Trout or Altuve.
Right. Who would you take, Trout or Altuve?
I'm taking Trout. I'm taking Trout. He gives you a little bit more home runs, but he's still going to give you stolen bases.
Would you rather have first pick and get Trout, or would you rather have second pick and get Altuve?
Ooh.
I think I'd rather have second pick, because it's really a coin flip for me of which one of those I would want first. So I'd rather just have somebody else pick the one for me.
Mike Trout's been, same with Altuve, but Mike Trout's been healthy except for last year.
Right.
That was the first year he really had any type of serious injury.
Is it weird that I think that because Altuve is 5'5", he has a way lesser chance of injuring his knees?
No.
Stuff like that? Like he's just light on his feet?
But Trout's so freaking well put together. That dude's a beast of a man.
Right.
And he's not a big injury risk. So, I mean, none of them are. None of those Altuve or Trout are. But I at this point, I'd still take Trout first over Altuve.
I mean, you give Altuve the batting average lead.
Yeah.
He'll hit higher at an average. He'll steal more bases.
Right.
Trout's going to hit more bombs.
And get more RBIs.
More RBIs.
And the runs are going to be probably pretty close.
Yeah, so I mean, jeez.
Yeah, that's why it is. It's really close.
But the funny thing is, Blackmon's right there.
Yeah,
Blackmon is right
that's
there.
the scary part. Charlie Blackmon is that close, and I think Bryce Harper can be that close. I think Bryce Harper can give you 40 bombs, and he had 319 average last year.
Yeah, I know we want to save this for when we draft, but who would you rather take, Blackmon or Paul Goldschmidt?
Wow.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I think I'd take Goldschmidt.
Yeah, I think I'd still take Paul Goldschmidt.
Knowing that Blackmon's ceiling might be a little higher, I think his floor is also a lot lower.
And also, I think outfielder is a little bit deeper position than first base.
Definitely. You don't need... I wanted to say this. Don't reach. You don't have to reach for these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many good outfielders out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's between Carlos Correa and like Mookie Betts or something like that, obviously draft who you like better at that point in the draft. You just wanted to go with the talent. Positional eligibility doesn't really matter. But
right.
At some point, when you get two comparable guys and one guy's a shortstop, one's an outfielder, then you've got to start looking at replace players that, like, if they got hurt, who would you replace them with? Yeah. And if you have you're going to have way more options at outfield. I think as far as your offensive players on your team, it'd be a good idea to have your weakest guys, like your guys that are on the bench some of the time and stuff, be outfielders. Yeah. Because they're easily replaceable. Yep. You don't want it to have, like, Cozart being your starting shortstop or something like that, and you're like, fuck. You know? Whereas you could have, the replacement level is not as good for shortstop is what I'm trying to say. No.
Yeah. So, guys, that was our top 15 for outfielders. Next week, I think, Mark, if you want to try to do a little bit of a mock fantasy draft between the two of us, maybe get 10 picks in each. And
what are we doing, 14-team or 12?
We could do... It doesn't really matter, I don't think. We'll just take
So if the league gets too deep, right now it's 12, correct?
Yes.
If we go to 14 or even say 16, you could just cut out a couple roster spots.
Yeah.
We don't need a corner infielder or a middle infielder.
Right.
Or we could do 3 outfielders instead of 5.
Right.
1 utility instead of 2.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it depends. I might go. I mean, there's so many people in there. Jesse Lastaglia wants to start a dynasty fantasy league. So I'm going to get the fantasy league up here probably as soon as Yahoo lets me do it. I'll get it up. We'll get everybody joined that we're going to get joined. There are some people in there that won't be playing this year that I'll have to delete. And then I'll put it out there, guys. I'm going to put it out there on the page, on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network page on Facebook. You guys join up. And this is going to be basically the page league. So this is the league that Mark won last year. He's got the trophy. He's got the belt. He's the champ. You come after him. Jesse's league will be sort of a dynasty league, and he'll get that up and running here.
I gotta go. I gotta take a shit really bad, and I mean it.
Yep. So Mark's leaving. Mark, thanks for coming.
No problem.
I'm going to answer a couple questions, and then we'll move on to the big signing. Kyle asked about Rhys Hoskins and where we draft him. He's listed as one of my ones to watch. It's tough to tell at this point because it really depends on what you need. Do you need a first baseman? If you're a couple rounds in and you need a first baseman and all the really good ones are taken, then you look at Rhys Hoskins. I'm looking at probably round 7 or 8. I would say maybe a little lower than that. He had a huge second half, so that's basically where I put Hoskins. Other than that, didn't get any real questions other than Kyle asking that. But like I said earlier in the podcast, Daniel Novel signed by the Pirates. He's not going to give you any fantasy value. He's probably going to be the 4th outfielder out there. I expect Adam Frazier to be the starting outfielder out in Pittsburgh, so I wouldn't look at Novel to give you any fantasy value. Finally, earlier today, we had the big news. Yu Darvish, 6 years, $126 million, with a chance to make $150 million off incentives. Hopefully that starts a domino effect, especially with pitchers, and they start coming off the board left and right. We know what you're worth now that Yu Darvish is gone. I expect Arrieta to be gone, hopefully pretty soon. We still have over 100 free agents out there that need to get signed. But as Yu Darvish, he's now in Chicago, the Cubs. And what you're going to get with him, you're probably going to get ERA probably from 3.5 or a little higher out there. Hitter's ballpark, especially the wind's blowing. If the wind's blowing out, that's he's going to give up some runs. But he's still a great fantasy pitcher to have. So he's going to get you a lot of strikeouts as long as he stays healthy. There's another guy that's an injury risk. So Yu Darvish, you know what you're going to get with him. You know where he's playing. You know where you can draft him now. Other than that, guys, I didn't have too much for you this week. Once again, keep watching both our shows. The Grand Slam with Mikey Franks. Every Saturday night, I'm going to drop a podcast with Mark Hickson. Fantasy season's coming up. As soon as it starts heating up, fantasy-wise, we're going to be on here maybe a little bit longer with you guys. We're going to let you know who's hot this week, who's hot, who's not. So we're getting excited. It's getting close. Pitchers and catchers are starting to report. Yu Darvish is off the board. Hopefully more free agents are going off the board. Don't forget to listen to the Jake Robertson Sports Experience right here on the Let's Talk Baseball Podcast Network. I believe every Tuesday or Wednesday he's going to drop a podcast, and he is fantastic. We just had the Kangaroo Court. Corey Smith, you know better than to challenge me. He's the biggest Cubs homer I know. He loves Chris Bryant. He probably he lost our we went to court and he lost. And I think he had a chance to win until right after the freaking Super Bowl. Right after, not 5 minutes after the Super Bowl ended, the guy goes on Facebook and posts, "Thank God Super Bowl's over. And now it's baseball season. Let's go Cubs." And that lost it for you, I think, man. And now, hey, go look at his profile pic. He's got a Pirates profile pic up for a couple more days. So thanks for adhering to the rules, because if you didn't, we wouldn't have been talking to him for a little while. He would have been on his own Facebook. He wouldn't have been in the page. So, guys, listen to Jake Robertson Sports Experience every week. He's great to listen to, man. He's funny. And don't forget about our bet. I'm going to remind you every week about our bet. Giants are going to be better than the Rockies. Yes, the Giants signed Derek Holland to a minor league deal. He will not see the major league team. The Rangers are a team I root for in the AL. He was on the Rangers for years, and I just